Further with James Dorsey. He's a senior fellow at Singapore's S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies. James, good to see you. We've got this new Israeli delegation turning up to another round of talks, but the same red lines.
Indeed. But what we are seeing is pressure, again, not the kind of pressure that may make a difference, but pressure on Netanyahu by the United States to be more flexible. Whether that will work or not has to be seen. But I think that what you were just discussing with your correspondent in East Jerusalem with regard to the statements by the head of Shin Bet, that this is relevant to this. Because among the options that the Americans are privately discussing to pressure Israel, one of them is to impose sanctions both on Itamar Ben-Gvir, the national security minister, and the finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich. And in fact, what we've seen is a slight nuance between the two in the last week. So last week, when you had an attack on a settler vigilante attack on a Palestinian town on the West Bank, Smotrich responded by calling this criminal activity that needed to be countered. With other words, he was trying to take a step to avoid U.S. sanctions. And I think that in the context of the ceasefire negotiations is important.
So do you think then that these comments that have come up from the chief of Shin Bet, they could potentially be used in these discussions, in this new round of talks that are taking place in Cairo?
Well, I don't know that they directly will be used in the ceasefire negotiations, but they are influencing, they are part of an effort, if you wish, to push Netanyahu towards a more flexible stand. And the classical notion is Netanyahu is dependent on Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. And that is true to a degree. But let's keep in mind that his popularity, because of the crisis with Iran, has soared significantly. The latest polls show that Netanyahu would actually win an election if it were held today. And in a sense, he would be able to form a cabinet if he wanted to that did not include Itamar Ben-Gvir and not include Bezalel Smotrich and still have a majority in parliament.
That would be an astonishing turnaround, wouldn't it, from where the polls were for Benjamin Netanyahu a year ago? Is the accusation then that he stokes conflict with Iran to increase his popularity and strengthen his position in the ceasefire deal negotiations?
Well, I think that would be an oversimplification. Iran has been on his radar for a very long time. Let's keep in mind that prior to the 2015 Iran nuclear agreement, essentially Netanyahu wanted to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. What I think is happening is that the fact that Israel is bracing itself for a potential Iranian response to the killing in Tehran a few weeks ago of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh, that anxiety and tension with the attack hanging over Israelis' heads and nothing happening is strengthening Netanyahu's position.
James, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. James Dorsey there from Singapore's S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.